Many thanks for staying with us. We talk security now. President Bola Tinubu has rejected Nigeria's re-designation as a country of particular concern by U.S. President Donald Trump, insisting that the label misrepresents Nigeria's religious reality. In a statement posted on his official X handle on Saturday, the president said Nigeria stands firmly as a democracy governed by constitutional guarantees of religious liberty, and that the description of the country as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality based on that statement. Now, the post was in response to Trump's declaration of Nigeria as a country of a particular concern. In a post on Truth Social on Friday, Trump wrote that Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. To discuss this, we're joined by global affairs analyst Ejike Okpa. Thank you so much, Ejike, for joining us on the news.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So, is the Nigerian government truly engaging in or tolerating serious violations of religious freedom?
I think that question is up in the air. The answer can be anything. Anybody wants to interpret it as they deem fit. But the question has to be, answered or asked. How many times, how many Nigerians have been prosecuted for religious violence? If Tinubu is going to say Nigeria, stands for constitutional democracy and every religion, is doing whatever they want to do, they tolerate each other. The question has to be asked of him, has anybody who has killed, if it is a Christian that killed a Muslim or vice versa, has anybody ever been prosecuted? Let him put up that record. It's not just saying, everybody's fine, we're, hunky-dory, we're doing well. It has to be by data, and that data has to say, if you attack any Nigerian because you don't agree with their religious something, then we're going to prosecute you. The federal government will make sure you are prosecuted, and when we convict the person, they're going to do time. I don't think in the history of Nigeria that has happened. The Muslims of Nigeria have somehow, come to think that they own Nigeria, that anything they want, Nigerians have to do. I mean, despite the fact they've had an undue political advantage, the North is still a very desperate, despondent part of Nigeria. And they use religion to do and get away with whatever it is they do. But, what has to happen again now is let Tinubu, tell Trump and say, hey, since he became president, that this is the number of Nigerians that have been prosecuted for religious violence. Let him say that. And not just, issue a statement that I think is just more like, a feel-good situation. Why Nigerians are dying? A president that looks very insensitive, a president that thinks that everything is good because when he gets sick, he goes abroad. I just came back from Nigeria last night. I spent 10 days in Nigeria. I was all over the place looking at hospitals and schools. And, what I saw wasn't very pleasing. So it's very unfortunate that Trump, a foreign power has to come in and say this. Nigerians know it. Nigerians live under a very siege environment because they are afraid. They are afraid of saying anything. They are afraid of dealing with what it is they're facing. And the political class look very insensitive, very detached, because when they move around, they have their entourage. They are not actually representing the 99% of situation many Nigerians have to deal with.
But then, Ejike Okpa, do you even think that the violent attacks that have happened in Nigeria for a couple of years now has a religious coloration? Because some people will say that a lot of Nigerians have been killed, whether Muslims or Christians, and generally we see these attacks being non-discriminatory.
Any of those can be the case, but when you see the things that happen in Jos, when you see all these, unknown gunmen that do it, what I'm saying is that every crime has a reason that crime happened. You got to go do the investigation and see, is it because of a conflict over something? Is it because I don't like you because you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, or you're a non-believer? All of those things have to be what, any leadership that is sincere about what goes on within their own tradition have to be doing. Publish the result. Put it annually. There should be an annual crime statistics on Nigeria, who is doing what and why they are doing it. But not just for the president and anybody that is sympathetic to the situation just come in and issue statement. Nigerians are suffering, and you could tell that since democracy, 26 years into the, into that experiment, how are Nigerians doing? Is it the naira that is stable? Is it employment that has grown? Is it industries that are coming back? Are people being paid on time? And these are the measures. It cannot just be for a president who lives in isolation, who is sheltered by the people around him. How many times has Tinubu gone around Nigeria? How many times? Sometimes he goes to commission a project. Is that what a president should be doing? Commissioning a project? Send one of your ministers, but go have conversation with Nigerians. Ask them what is going on. And when this happen, have somebody convicted. This guy, whether Muslim or Christian, you kill somebody because you don't like their religion, prosecute them. Make a statement with that. I'm not just hide and say Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. Ask every Nigerian.
Okay. Yeah, Ejike, let me share this school of thoughts with you. I mean, if you would recall, Trump made some unverified claims about white farmers being killed in South Africa a couple of months back. And some people feel that this statement coming from the U.S. president is politically motivated, looking at it from the fact that the Nigerian government, according to it, has done as much as it could to deal with the issue around terrorism in the country. So some people feel that this statement coming from the White House is factually weak.
Again, if Nigerians want to console themselves with that is fine. The point is Nigerians have to ask them, do you need an outside president to come and tell you what is going on in the country? Nigerians have to be sincere. Nigerians have to own it. And when you own it, you say, this is going on. Before anybody says anything, you go ahead and say it. But when they say it, that could be a political reason for them making this statement. But the point again is every year, what is the crime statistics in Nigeria, either by state or or by local government or by religious affiliation. The Nigerian security agency Nigerian police should be putting out that information. When an arrest is made, what is the basis of the arrest? Who is making the arrest and why? These are the things that's why I say you have to own the data on Nigeria. You don't have to wait for the World Bank or UN to come and tell you that. Nigerians, obviously are well educated, but they are not exposed. They are not exposed to what it is they have to be doing to promote the image of the country. Remember, every country has something they want to say good about themselves. So whether Trump said that about South Africa and it didn't make sense, it doesn't really matter. The point is that Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world, and the president of Nigeria should be such a person that when they stand out to say something, at least there should be an element of credibility. Tinubu doesn't have it, Obasanjo never had it, Buhari never had it. How do you do it? How do you do it? Is he come out and say, this is what is going on and this is what we're doing? He just replaced a bunch of service chiefs and replaced them with another one. Since you did that, what has that got to do with the price of bread? That changing posts when the institutions that they work at doesn't even do anything. What does that really mean? People want to be able to move around. Security issues in Nigeria has crippled the economy because once it's past 6 o'clock, most people don't want to get out of their home or go anywhere. So you got to be able to do it, and it doesn't matter what religion you are in. What I'm saying that the Muslims of Nigeria somehow have stepped up to feel like they own Nigeria, and you could say it either from the politics or from the way they act. I mean, I was in Abuja 2-3 days ago, and I see a bunch of cattlemen and they all carry AK-47. What is that for? Have you ever seen these, farmers from the south with their goats with gun strapped on their back? Mm. So who's giving them gun? And why is the president never made a statement about that? Why should cattlemen carry gun in Nigeria? Who are they attacking? So these are the things that, again, if you don't say it, somebody's going to say it on your behalf, and oftentimes when they do it, they say it to damage you. So Nigeria has to step forward. If Tinubu wants to say he got into this post by saying this is his turn, is his turn to ruin Nigeria, or is his turn to do Nigeria good? When he got into office, the exchange rate of Nigeria, turning naira to dollar, was 450. Now it's 1,500 and something. Okay, how is he going to come out and say Nigeria is doing well? Because a bunch of values have been lost in the system. And there's so many people that are not being employed, and those that are not being employed are not even employed in the things that are going to make Nigeria emerge as a productive nation. This is conversation Nigerians have to have. You don't have to make your president feel good. The president has to make Nigerians feel good, because these are the issues. If you say, look, we have a challenge, and this challenge is because of this, is what do you Nigerians think needs to happen? Then that's a conversation. And not just to come in and tell them this is what you have to do. What do Nigerians want? Ask the question. Obasanjo didn't do it, Buhari didn't do it, Yar'Adua didn't do it, Jonathan didn't do it. Ask Nigerians, what do you think needs to happen in your localities in order for you to feel safe? Every politics is local. It has nothing to do with the region. If you live in any way about it, you have to feel safe where you live.
Okay.
It's the responsibility of the president or the governor to step up and ask them, what do you need for me to do for you in order for you to feel safe in your own place?
So even as we wrap up on this, Ejike, well, since being now named a country of particular concern, which can actually trigger some sort of diplomatic strain or sanctions, does this show that there's a start of tense relationship between Nigeria and US with these statements coming from both governments?
Yes. Because, the president of America has a bigger microphone than what Tinubu has. Okay? So what Tinubu, Nigeria doesn't even have, as of today, Nigeria doesn't even have an ambassador, in Washington. So what Tinubu needs to do is pick up the phone through whatever diplomatic channel, say, hey, Mr. President, I heard what you said. Here is this is what is on the ground. I have that information. Here is my data. What do you think in your end? How can we engage with you and the resources we have to address this concern? And not to just go off like, a child crying on the corner and to say, oh, no, I'm doing well. See, a lot of Nigerians, again, Nigeria is not for Nigeria, America is for Nigeria. But when you look at the two presidents, you're going to say, who in the world can say, even if they lie on you, how do you counter that? Tinubu hasn't been the person Tinubu, again, with all due respect, doesn't have the communication skills. You need your president to inspire the country. You need your president to motivate people and not to speak through your various, mouthpieces. He should get out there, pick up the telephone or stand before Nigerians and speak with Nigerians. Not speak at Nigerians. Speak with Nigerians. Encourage Nigerians. You elected me. Americans didn't elect Tinubu. But how come anytime Tinubu is sick, he goes abroad? What does that convey to the rest of the world?
Well,
because they're going to interpret it as, there's no infrastructure for health in Nigeria. If at any little thing, opportunity, boom, you out there, you are visiting countries because you're sick, build that infrastructure in Nigeria. Rely on Nigerian doctors to train you. So again, back to your question, the point is that, Trump versus Tinubu, we know who has the bigger microphone and who can damage the other person based on what they say. Nigeria needs to stand up and claim their goodwill. And the way you do it is to be very objective. And if certain things are not working, accept it. Say, hey, we don't have the resources to do this, but you know what? This is what we're doing towards that goal.
Okay.
And ask Nigerians.
Well, Ejike, obviously, this would mean that the Nigerian government would need to be quite attuned to the plights of Nigerians and be more responsive to the issues affecting its citizens. Thank you so much, Ejike Okpa, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
You use the keyword there, responsive. Responsive. That's what leadership's supposed to be. Responsive to the need of your people.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.